Benoit Potier has been chief executive of France's Air Liquide since 2006. He also chairs the European Roundtable of Industrialists, a lobby group which brings together the chief executives and chairmen of more than 50 of Europe's leading companies. I spoke to Mr. Potier earlier this month in Paris in the Grand Palais at an exhibition designed to showcase the best of France. Monsieur Potier, thank you very much indeed for talking to the FT today. What for you are the biggest challenges as a big company and a big investor in France?
I think we have identified from a European perspective some of the issues that we have in France. I think the way we manage competitiveness is probably the biggest challenge we have for the future. And in saying that, I should illustrate my point with one or two examples. I think definitely the ability we have as a company to introduce flexibility in the labor market is probably one of the biggest issue we have to solve. Not that as a company we cannot manage it, but we realize that in the ecosystem that we manage, it's rather difficult. I think maybe the second one would be the tax issue. It's not new. The way we share between the efforts between the large, the small, the public, the private, the state and the regions has to be reconsidered. And I think more flexibility also in the tax system, defining better priorities would be a great help.
Some people think that France should be considered the sick man of Europe. Do you think that's an unfair judgment?
No, I think it's unfair. I don't think we are sick. I think France, if you look at the numbers, I think France is flat. There are countries during the crisis that were down significantly, in particular in the south of Europe. France was nearly flat. If I look at the volumes we have in France and the turnover, it's flat. So the problem of France is not to be sick. The problem of France is to find the way to be more dynamic, to grow, to actually have more energy into the system and to find the recipes for that.
What's needed if you had to identify one measure that was needed to improve?
I was asked this question this morning in this forum, and I think honestly that everything that can lead to the development of entrepreneurship in France should be a priority. If we were just thinking about entrepreneurs, people that have ideas, if the goal of the state was to create the environment to have all these energies to emerge, I think that would change the picture in France. And by the way, the French companies are doing very well outside of France. So that's a very good example of what we can do. So why don't we invent in France the environment that we find in the rest of the world?
As well as leading Air Liquide, you also chair the European Roundtable of Industrialists. What for you are the big priorities for action in the broader Eurozone, not just France? I mean, back in March, energy was very high up Absolutely. On your priority list. Is that still?
It is still the case. Now we have another topic to link with energy, which is the COP21 next year, and the ability to have on climate, to have ability to actually make climate change policy and energy policy coherent, because they are not today. That's one of the biggest topics we have for large industries. But there are others, because the energy is a must, it's a requirement for all. The energy of tomorrow is actually the digits, and the digital world is going to be the energy world of today. So what we need to do as well is to create an environment in Europe and not just in every single country that allows company to have a single digital market. And I think this topic is going to be one of the key topics for the next 5-10 years, beside energy and climate change.
Can I also ask you, Jean-Claude Juncker recently unveiled a large investment plan, 315 billion euros, according to him, for the whole of Europe. How optimistic are you that will actually deliver any results?
Well, if I may just make a remark first, I think it's a good thing to have an investment plan. The issue with an investment plan is not the financing, and it probably focused too much on the equation, the 15 or the 16 billion plus the 5 equals 21, and then the leverage bringing 300 million. I think the financing normally comes second. What comes first is what do we want to do? Do we have to build infrastructure? Which infrastructure? Do we need to help the education system? Do we need to help innovation? And so what I would like to see from that on is much more work being done on this is what we need in Europe. This is the strategic plan. And from that, we're going to privilege and make priorities and take the 300 million and channel it to the priorities.
Just very quickly, do you think he got it the wrong way round? He got the financing before the strategic plan?
I think the situation of Europe led him to talk about finance first. But if we as companies had to make a plan, we would not start by telling the board, this is how we are going to finance our plan.
Monsieur Potier, thank you very much indeed for talking to the FT.
Thank you.